This is your video cast for Tuesday, February 3rd, and let me just say this off the top. You can see me motioning with my hands. I'm expressive here because I mean this. It's a bit of a big declaration that I'm about to make. I have had as much fun the past 3 weeks getting back to some early Dirt on Dirt days content creation as I have had in a very, very long time here at Flow Sports. And I mean that. We had this gap. Jeff, give me camera one. I'm calling the producer. We had this gap. I love when I can call producer Jeff and tell him what camera. We had this gap between Wild West Shootout and Speedweeks that we personally have not had in a very long time. It's been 15 years since I have been home on these last couple of weeks of January. And myself and Ben Shelton and Dustin Jarrett, we just said the hell with it. Let's create some old school video cast content. And I've really, really enjoyed myself just talking about the sport that I love so much. It's been a throwback, and I've absolutely had a ball the last 3 weeks. I am Michael Rigsby inside those FloRacing and Dirt on Dirt studios, and this will be our last pre-Speed Weeks, or I don't know, mid-Speed Weeks or pre-Speed Months or mid-Speed, whatever you want to call it. This will be our last piece of content we do before we start creating content on the road and heading south. A little bit longer show on tap today is not only do Ben Shelton and Dustin Jarrett join me, but we'll wrap up with Kevin Kovac, or Mr. Speedweeks, as I like to call him, hopping on as well, as he'll be at Screven this coming weekend for the Winter Freeze, and he'll be at Volusia 2.0 and Golden Isles on the tail end as well. Guys, we had planned on recording this, and let's bring Ben and DJ in now. We had planned on recording this after 4 Hunt the Front races. We thought we were going to have 4 big ones. It turns out the entire damn country is in this frigid, snowy ice box. Ben in Memphis and DJ in Ohio and me in Illinois. It's been going on week after week. So let's look at that winners graphic, guys. It's a disappointing looking winners graphic here, right? Not for Brandon Overton, but there's supposed to be 4 winners on this, and you'll see canceled. Won 3 of the races is Swainsboro never even got off the ground. It snowed the day before there. The wind chill was 12 degrees night number 2 of the race at Needmore, so no shock, Brandon Overton picks up the only Hunt the Front race that we had there. We had tons of snow in the Carolinas, guys. It was a 13-degree wind chill, Ben, at Volusia, and you know what that feels like for the mods over there. Forget the Midwest. I want to start with Ben here. Do you ever remember this time of year? We've been down there before when it snowed the Outer Banks. There's snow everywhere. There's ice everywhere. I don't quite remember a Speed Weeks that started like this, Ben.
It's been a wild start to the year, and while we've had touches of winter around Speed Weeks over the decades, man, I don't know that we've seen it to this extreme. And all that said, I think we've gotten a little bit spoiled with skating by with good winter weather at these Speed Weeks tracks. I mean, this year, Old Man Winter reminded us, I'm really in charge, and you're going to deal with it, and that's what we got.
DJ, quickly before you go, my mom said to me, she goes, yeah, it's January, you idiots. What are you thinking? Of course this is going to happen. So that's what she was reminding me this week. So,
But it doesn't typically happen down there, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
I had to dig deep into my bank. The only thing I can recall that comes close is I think it was 2005. Rick Schwally and we went down. It would have been, I think, the first year that the NARA, which is now Lucas Oil, went to East Bay Raceway Park. We stopped at Golden Isles on the way in, and that was back in the days of like that black oil track where they were running some ungodly speed, like 150 miles an hour around there. And it started snowing that night when we were there, like 20 years ago. That was the only thing that I could think of when I dug into my memory bank.
I love the Hunt the Front boys, right? Like I said, they were supposed to get, and Joshua said it was tough at Needmore, right? With the crowd, just wasn't spectacular because obviously it was freezing out. We've got a lot to get to, and I want to talk more about the Hunt the Front guys, but we don't have that much time. I'm giving each of you 30 seconds right now, right? And this is hard for these two. Trust me when I tell you that. DJ, quickly, 30, maybe 45, 30 to 45 seconds on Needmore, and then Ben, you go.
Yeah, I mean, again, I feel terrible for everyone involved, right? From Hunt the Front to Chance Smith and everyone down there. 17 cars and 14 started the feature, and I think only 11 finished. But all of that aside, I don't think it was really a surprise that Brandon Overton won. He's so good in these early season races. But in that same token, it was his earliest win in the last 3 years as well, since Golden Isles in 2023.
For me, because I've been in those promoter shoes where it just feels like if it can't go wrong, it does. Man, my heart was really with Chance Smith and the Hunt the Front guys. Until you stood there and realized that despite all your hard work, the one thing you can't control, the weather, determine your fate. and it's hard to swallow. It's hard to understand how it feels, and it's tough for them, but it's all a part of the game.
If we were setting a gambling favorite for that race, by the way, Brandon Overton was like minus 1,200. So not shocking that Overton got the victory. We're going to slide on to this weekend. It's a big weekend. We really need to give our flowers here to Red Griffin and the team at Screven for stepping up. We've got a graphic here, 5, 10, and 25,000 to win this coming weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, for Ray Cook Southern All-Star Series at the Sylvania, Georgia Oval. By the way, this picture real quick, there's something very that my mind loves about like a wet, tilled up racetrack with like just a few sets of tire tracks in it. I don't know what it is. I love images like that. I just absolutely love it. But guys, it's the only super late model event in the country. I think it's probably the only late model event in the country this entire weekend. This isn't how the schedule normally falls, but Ben, I'm going to start with you. Preview Screven for me. It's a big weekend there with 25,000 to win on Saturday. What do we expect? Who can we expect? And DJ, you take it after Ben.
I have a hard time believing I'll be the only person to mention this, but when you think of the Winter Freeze, you immediately think first of Red Griffin's famous concession stand,
Yeah.
And then you think of the Overton family. Cody Overton won the finale last year. Big brother Brandon, he's got 4 career wins in this event. South Carolina's Ross Bells, he's won it twice. I expect to see all those guys this weekend, plus former winners like Garrett Smith, along with Brian Shirley. Kyle Bronson's supposed to be there, Drake Troutman, Turbo, and a host of others. And also, it's hard to imagine that last year's, what I consider a surprise winner, because he'd stepped away for so long, Casey Roberts won't be in the house as well. DJ, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that the concession stand there is like a Sunday afternoon potluck, after church. I mean, it's the best food in the entire country. But I think a lot of people forget, too, this was a World of Outlaws event all the way up until 2020, so really until about 6 years ago. The winners list, like Ben said, obviously we think of Brandon Overton, right? And, of course, Cody Overton won last year. But it's also kind of this mixed bag of drivers with guys like Casey Roberts and Cody Overton getting wins last year. Ross Bales has won it twice. And by the way, speaking of digging deep into the memory bank, how about Steve Casebolt getting his only career World of Outlaws win at Screven back in 2015? I don't know who had that on their bingo card. My only trip there was back in 2020, and I did the infamous race day with our own Patrick Davis. Who could forget something like that, Rigsby?
You could have given me, Ben, I bet you're the same. You could have given me 30 guesses as to where Steve Casebolt got his only World of Outlaws victory. Atomic, maybe there was one at Portsmouth. There is no chance I would have ever, Ben, would you have gotten that? I never would have gotten that.
Well, yeah, and I would, and here's why. I was the World of Outlaws announcer during that time.
Oh, that doesn't count.
Steve, no, listen, Steve won. There's no cut in the front stretch fence. So I had to do this prison-style visitation winter victory lane interview because you literally cannot leave the county without getting from the announcer's box to the front straightaway. There's just no way. So literally it's like a prison visitation. I'm holding the microphone, through the fence interviewing Steve after he gets the World of Outlaws win there at Screven. And, as I remember, Rigsby, I think it was short sleeve weather down there, which you haven't always had at Screven.
Yeah. I say one of the 2 coldest nights of my life at a racetrack was at Screven the year. I think Tony Stewart was in an All-Stars race there that he won that night, where they also reached through the fence to interview Tony that night. Man, I wouldn't have got that. Great pull on Casebolt, and of course Ben happened to be there. Ben jumped the gun a little on me. He stole a little of my concession stand thunder. Producer Jeff roll it again, Jeff. And I know it's a little bit cliche to talk about this, but it is the greatest concession stand in the country for racetracks. Like you said, it is look at these racks of ribs, guys, that you're going to get at Screven. There's always a million people milling around the grounds. There's mashed potatoes. Look at that shrimp. There's a shrimp boil. There's racks of ribs. The thing I like about it is how familial it feels when you're there. Especially at this concession stand, it's a family-oriented place that Red has built, and this concession stand speaks to that. There's 397 different kinds of food at this thing.
Well, yeah, you got to have your head right. You had told me on the way to the track the first time we're riding there, and you're like, you're just not ready for this concession stand. And I told myself I was not. And I remember we walked up there, and they're like, what do you want? And I was like, I feel like there should have been like a credit approval that I did in advance before I even got to the windows. So yeah, it's something to check out.
You know when you've got concession stand B-roll that it's a good concession stand. When we've got video that we can roll for 40 seconds of a concession stand, it's good. So don't forget, every lap of Screven can be seen live on FloRacing this week. I'm pumped for those guys. Good luck to Red. Good luck to Ray Cook. Going to be a great field of cars there, so please check Screven out. The rest of Speedweeks looks like this, guys. It starts with Screven this weekend. We all sort of arrive at Volusia next week to begin our traditional coverage. The vaunted Volusia Speedway Park and the DIRTCar Nationals leading into the Daytona 500 the 9th through the 14th. You can watch all those races live on Dirt Vision. And then for the first time ever, post-Speedweeks, post-Daytona, Lucas starts at Alltech on February 19th, 20th, and 21st. 3 days there at Wendell's Place down there with Joe Kelly and the guys. Head-to-head with them for the first time ever. Hendry County Speedway, the Swamp Cabbage 100, and then 2 Lucas races and events to wrap it up. Bubba Raceway Park's Ocala Speedway, where we saw Jonathan Davenport will be competing down there. And then we wrap it up, guys, all the way in March 4th through the 7th. We'll still be down there. Ben and I doing 28 days in Florida for the Super Bowl of Racing, 4 nights at Steve Stevenson's. Watch all those Lucas races live on FloRacing. So what I wanted to do with you guys, I wanted to lay the slate out, and then I think I'm going to have DJ go first on this. I had you each 3 make bold predictions. 3 bold, and I made graphics for you too to make it really official. 3 bold Speedweeks predictions. DJ, you go first. Here are your 3.
All right, there's my 3. Number 1, we will see a first-time Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series winner for the 4th year in a row.
Okay.
Tyler Bruning last year at Golden Isles. Of course, Dalton Wilson won that frantic East Bay finale back in 2024. Year before that, you had Ashton Winger and Ryan Gustin at East Bay in 2023. I think we see another first-time Lucas Oil winner, and I'll even go out on a limb and tell you who it's going to be, Rigsby.
Oh, okay.
Brian Shirley. Brian Shirley gets his first ever Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series win at Speedweeks this year. Number 2, whoever is leading the Lucas points and the World of Outlaws points after Speedweeks will not be the champion in their respective series. Why do I say that? Well, it's only happened once in the last 5 years. That was actually Ricky Thornton with Lucas back in 2024. And then my last bold prediction is that, and I'm praying about this one, Lucas Oil will not have a single rain out for the first time in 8 years.
That is, those promoters down there like that third one a lot. They really like that third one. And I may have seen Ben's bold predictions. Ben, this guy, I think, was looking at yours, honestly, right? I think these two, either that or these two spend so much time together, their brains have become one. So now let's look at Ben Shelton's 3 bold Speedweeks predictions.
Well, I'm going to go and take a look because DJ last night, we're trying to not have the same answers. And he goes, I'm going to send you what I've got so that you know when you do your, because I was going to do mine last night. And I told him I had, DJ, I could be wrong. You can tell me I'm a liar. I don't think we had Brian Shirley as your first time winner. You said there'd be a first time winner. So we'll get to that in a second.
That is true. He's correct.
Yeah, look at him. He's just constantly. You know what? He's not invited, Michael.
I agree.
Kyle Bronson's going to win at least one night at Screven. In fact, he's only going to win one night to prevent a Georgia sweep. And I'll give you a spoiler on that. Brandon Overton's going to win the other 2 nights. I think big sexy, slim sexy, medium sexy, sexy light, whatever you're going to call him. He's back in 2026. I think he's going to have a good year. I think he just got to win. It need more. He's going to win at least 2 as he rolls into Screven. Brian Shirley is going to get his first Lucas Oil win. And so DJ will be right. I'll be right. Look at DJ piggybacking on me. But that also means, DJ and Michael, James Essex will no longer be able to remind everybody during the Lucas Oil Knoxville Late Model Nationals that while Brian Shirley did win that race in the spin to win year, he's never won a Lucas Oil race. He won't be able to say that anymore. And then the last thing, Ocala Speedway. Last year, we had 3 winners in 5 races. Jonathan Davenport doubled down. Devin Moran bookended the deal. Thornton got a win. This year, we were going to have 5 different winners in 5 races. And to go ahead and add one to the bingo card, just like DJ did, that winner, first-timer, Brian Shirley's win will come at Ocala, first one with the series.
See, now that's a nice level of detail there. I do feel like DJ sort of glommed onto your points a little bit, honestly, if we're being honest. I feel like...
To be fair, he had not seen mine.
I thought he'd seen him. I thought you were sharing him in a channel, and then he got a look at him. So you're telling me that didn't happen. All right.
To be fair, I shared mine with Ben first, so any
Yep.
thieving comes from the Memphis, Tennessee area here.
Did your first time Lucas win, or did it say it'd be Brian Shirley and what you sent me, DJ?
I will neither
No,
confirm nor deny.
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm going to let you guys go track by track. We talked a lot about Screven, so I'm going to skip Screven because we talked about the concession stand. Volusia, Alltech, Ocala, Golden Isles. Those 4 racetracks. I just want you to each rattle off something interesting about each place. Volusia, Alltech, Ocala, Golden Isles. Ben, you first. Something interesting about each place.
Yeah, and I just brought DJ's list up. I'm going to read every one of his freaking answers now. So Volusia, this is kind of a nerdy thing. You may or may not notice it, but pay attention to how the groove progresses in turn 2 throughout the night at Volusia. The curb goes all the way to the fence. That low groove gets on the very bottom, and it becomes like a turbo button where guys, if they hit it right, man, you see them shoot off the very bottom of that racetrack, and they'll pass like 4 cars out of turn 2 in the features. Alltech, I really enjoy pit reporting there because it's wild to watch from the infield. That place is hard, man. Some of those guys go in there and they're just in that death slide where the wheels turned all the way to the left, the car's heading to the fence, and literally 1 lap to the next, the same car, same driver can be 1 second faster or slower if they hit it right. We've heard Thornton talk about how much character it has. I love that about Alltech. Ocala, I'm excited. You know, we met Bubba Clem, not met Bubba Clem, we saw Bubba Clem. We got to meet his dad for the first time. Yeah. Michael Rigsby and I did at PRI. DJ would have, but he wasn't there. We met him, and all Bubba wanted to talk about was they've added several loads of new clay to the surface for this year, and they also raised the barriers in turns 3 and 4. They banked it to the wall. They brought Devin Moran in. Devin made a few laps, and he went out there with a can of paint and said, it's flat here, make it better here. Bubba really thinks it's going to race better than it's ever raced. That has me excited. And then Golden Isles, this is kind of going to be in the vein of DJ. DJ's got some really fun ones. I'm going to give it to him. But my Golden Isles interesting thing is a couple years ago I'm in the infield pit reporting, and they got these mini monster trucks, and they're called Premier Monster Trucks, and they're doing a demo. And this dude's ripping around the track, and I'm walking through the infield, and about that time he cuts into the infield. And I barely see him at the last minute. He definitely barely sees me. I almost saw my maker. It had been a hell of a way to check out. But, yeah, my untimely demise almost came at the hands. You can't make this up. You guys will laugh forever. Not even a full-size monster truck took me out. A mini monster truck almost KO'd me at Golden Isles.
DJ, would we have finished the night, or what would we? What we got to get the show in, right? I mean, I don't want to.
It's probably what Ben would have wanted. You know, it's probably what he would have wanted.
If I get hit, do not finish the night. I just want to say, right, unless it's falls, do not finish the night. All right, DJ, Volusia, Alltech, Ocala, Golden Isles. Something interesting about each place.
Hey, DJ, we will finish the night, but we'll do the 4 wide in Michael Rigsby's honor since he loved it so much.
But we'll do it every night for the rest of the year, too. Every night for the rest of the year.
All right, DJ, something interesting, about each place, please, if you could.
So I'm going to preface by saying that Rigsby's time could be coming to an end sooner rather than later, because he asked me the same exact question in last year's video cast as well. So rather than
you gave good answers. I wanted to see if you could come up with something else.
So I did. I didn't want to recycle my answers from last year. I didn't want to be that guy.
That was a test. You passed.
Thank you. I went with anecdotal stories here. All right. So just quick hitters. Volusia 2022. I will never forget the plane flying overhead with the banner out the back of it that you see at the beach a lot. Yeah. And this one said DIRTCar Nationals tonight at Volusia Speedway Park. I don't know if they still do that or not, but I thought that was kind of cool. Alltech 2020. Coolest thing about Alltech, they used to have a food truck in the pit area that was one of my favorite food trucks. Most southern thing in the world. They sold shrimp and fried okra out of the food truck in the pit.
Shrimp I like. True. The okra, no thanks.
Ocala, a lot of great memories there. I went to Ocala way back a long time ago, 20 years ago. But one of the coolest things ever, last year, Gemma Carpenter, Freddie's wife, she had saw a social media post that I made about missing the strawberries at East Bay Raceway Park. And so she went to a local strawberry vendor, got strawberries, and actually made a strawberry pie for me and gave it to me at Ocala last year. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. So shout out Gemma Carpenter. I will be expecting one again this year too. I'm just saying. So.
Of course he will. Of course.
And then Golden Isles. Man, I had to dig real deep. 2006 was maybe the worst on-air broadcast in the history of the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Wayne Castleberry was my co-announcer. This was the audio-only broadcast days, right? So there's no video. It's just some guy talking into a computer, and people at home, for whatever reason, were listening to us. Wayne Castleberry and I were on the air for 3 straight hours for nothing but a rain delay. And I think, Rigsby, I think you had mentioned you were listening that night also.
I did. Sadly, yes. Yes, I was tuned in, and I can't believe they let you two do it ever. I actually don't think they let you two do it ever again, actually, if I remember right.
Okay. That was Castleberry's first and last time on a Lucas Oil broadcast, too. So
those were very good. I that's the thing is, I actually, a quick 30-second aside, I created a document internally for our group about Speedweeks memories. Guys, I've spent hundreds, if not 1,000 nights of my life now, literally at Speedweeks or whatever it is. Not 1,000, but 300-400 I've been down there now. And there's some great memories at Speedweeks. You spend so much time with a group of people at a place. There's some really great memories. Last one for you guys, Lucas Oil points chase. Ricky Thornton, I think we all agree, if we turn to a more traditional format this year, obviously, had we been doing that, Ricky Thornton would now be a 3-time Lucas Oil champion. So my question to you is, Ben, I'll go you first. You taking Ricky Thornton, or are you taking the field for the Lucas Championship? Who you got?
You sneaky bastard. You're starting the year making us make drivers mad at us.
Yes,
I see what
I
you're
am.
doing here.
Yes,
Ricky.
I am. Yes.
Man, you know what? I don't need the field. I'll just take Devin. Devin Moran hits the ground running this year and goes back-to-back as the champion. First person to do it since McCready did it in 2021, 2022. DJ?
I will go with RTJ. I think that with what Rigsby mentioned, with the new points format, I think he's the guy to beat. He doesn't have to worry about, locking into those final 4 races or whatever it is. I know he's not the defending champ, to Ben's point. I know that Devin is. Of course, I love my Ohio brethren, Dev, but I think that 20 RT, especially with Anthony Burrows back crew chiefing on that car, I think that's the car and the team to beat.
I agree. A dominant Ricky Thornton Jr. season is what I think is on tap. He's motivated by the fact that the points, it's basically the Ricky Thornton rule, right? Everybody's like, oh man, Ricky probably would have won all these champions. I think he's motivated. I think he absolutely dominates the season. So I'm more afraid about making their wives mad than I am then, though, Ben. So now Lakia's upset. Who else is upset? Shay's happy.
I can't wait till Hudson wins it and Curb stomps us and then River pees on us. I love everything about this.
I love that River. It's the cutest dog. Guys, I cannot wait to get to Speedweeks with you guys again. We all arrive. Ben and I, Super Bowl Sunday, DJ a few days later to help us cover Volusia. One question I have for you guys to end this. Should we do this all year? Should we do more of this throughout the year, just the 3 of us rapping about late model racing and beyond?
I really enjoy it.
Yes.
I really enjoy it. I'm game to keep it going, but obviously on social, we know people. There's people that love us, people that hate us, people in between. Our spouses, they're legally bound. They're in between. Respond. Let us know if you'd like to see more of these. Personally, I like it, especially as we get into the meat of the season, because it's kind of a fun way to give our takes. And dare I say, it's almost like a pseudo drive home throughout the year to give our behind-the-scenes thoughts, what we think about what's going on.
DJ, I think you were hosting Drive Home exclusively with Rinkin and Kovac Thursday night. Are you ready for that? The 3 of you, that combo.
What could possibly go wrong, right? I mean, what we may get an early Rinkin 4 big block 4 wide as well.
Yeah. I think it'll be
because I think the big blocks will be there then.
You'll need it that night. I think you'll need it that night, boys. I appreciate it so much. Benji, I will see you in Florida on Sunday. DJ, I'll see you in Florida Thursday. Thanks, guys. We're going to take a quick break, and Kevin Kovac back on the other side to wrap up our Speedweeks preview.
They'll race into 3 and off of 4. Your winner of the second feature is Turbo. Tyler gets it done.
Established in 1983, FK Rod Ends has been the industry leader for both midget and micro racing. Family owned and operated, we take pride in our products and our name because we know you value yours. Visit our website, www.fkrodends.com, to find out how you can join our winning team. FK Rod Ends. To beat the best, you've got to use the best.
Welcome back to our extended Speedweeks preview. I mentioned that Lucas Oil points chase with Ben and Dustin. I wanted to get Todd Turner's take on that. So let's throw that graphic up now, Producer Jeff, if we could. The Lucas Crown, Todd Turner's graphical look at the Lucas Oil points chase. So Devin Moran's points total last season made him the lone tour champion to crack the 9,000 point barrier, the first one ever to do that. Brandon Shepard is the only driver among the top 10 in all-time victories of the Lucas Oil Series that does not have a title. Will he and that Rocket One team break that slump this year? Southern Slide. Southerners own 13 of the 21 titles, but none, how about this? None since Jonathan Davenport all the way back in 2019, which will be 7 years ago this year. Scott Bloomquist's 2016 title came by a series record 880 points. 880. The GOAT did it in 2016. The last 4 seasons are only the second such stretch, the first being 2015 and 18, for the series without a back-to-back champ. So can Devin Moran do it this year? I thought this one was interesting too. Hudson O'Neal, who was 23 when he won it in 2023, is the youngest ever series champ. 9 champions have been 40 or older. I'm 44. I still got hope. And lastly, top 5s, series champions, past or present, filled the top 5 positions in series points 5 times, 2015, 17, and 18, and 23 and 24. Thanks to Todd Turner for that awesome look at just some nuggets regarding the championship. So far during these video casts, as you've known this last couple of weeks, I've only had Ben Shelton and Dustin Jarrett on, but now that things are ramping up and getting more serious, I said this off the top, I had to bring in Kevin Kovac. He is Mr. Speedweeks, as I like to call him, the guy that everybody associates with Speedweeks. Kovac, how many years in a row now have you been going, even count as a fan, have you been going in a row to Florida to watch or cover racing?
Well, it's 20, this will be 29 straight years. I just figured it out. 1998 was the first year I went to cover it. That's when Volusia went back to the big track being dirt. I also went in 1986 and 87 as a kid, as a fan, to Volusia's late model and modified. But I was there for the big blocks mostly. But it's been a long time now. I can't believe I've now been officially more than half my life I've been going to Speedweeks.
You and I've got a bonus question for the end about you and I talking about covering Speed Week. So we'll get to that, right? How it's life altering in a way. I want to start with Screven this weekend. I talked to Ben and DJ. Listen, this is the only race in the country this weekend for late models, any kind, right? It's $25,000 to win on Saturday night. You're going to be there covering it. I had in here to ask you if you'd ever been, but then I remembered when it was an Outlaws race, you covered it the year they watered the track and it froze over. What do you expect at Screven this weekend? Just high level it for us. What do you think we're going to see down there?
It's been, 2013 was the last time I was at Screven, actually, because the last, all these other years now since I was with Dirt on Dirt, I've always been, usually I've been at East Bay, I think there's always been those, conflicts there. So I haven't been able to see it since it became, they switched it, they flipped the front stretch, back stretch. They put that new tower in on the what the front stretch is now. And it might look a little different for me, but what I feel like this weekend, it's like that weird weekend where how many guys are going to be there, especially national touring guys, because are guys going to get a little anxious because they haven't raced now since Volusia 1.0? Or you feel like there might be some guys that just drop in unexpectedly. I count at least, I think, 7 right now national touring drivers that'll be joining the field. But there's some really tough guys, regulars, Southeast regulars that'll be there too. I just wrote a little bit about Trent Ivey today. Yeah. He has a new, he's going to be with the Brian Ridgway car. It's first time he's going to be in a train chassis down there. And, you have Ross Bales. You got all these guys that are locals, that are local in the Southeast that make it really tough. And it's kind of their time to shine. You know what I mean? It's their time to shine because it's not full pit area loaded with the national guys.
Yeah, and I was looking at the weather. Little chance of rain Thursday, but 61, 62 the other day. I mean, that's for Screven. Kevin, you and I have been there. I say one of the two coldest races I've been to in my life. That 61 degrees and sunny at Screven might as well be spring break, right? I mean,
yeah, it looks a little chilly on Friday. You know, but the wind isn't 35 miles per hour.
Yes.
That was bad back that 2012 race. I'll never forget that. You might have probably been in that little tower on the
I
old
was there
stretch with me.
Yep,
I've never seen so many people squeezed into that little tower. We talked about on the podcast this past week, man. It was like anybody just had to get out of that wind. I was in the back. I think I was standing next to Ken Schrader. He was up there watching too, and I'm like, oh, I mean, it couldn't have been. I mean, like I was uncomfortable with the squeeze, the space, but it was definitely warmer than being outside.
Kevin, most hardcore late model people will tell you that, you know, when East Bay was really kind of the heart and soul of Speedweeks, right? But you're a tried and true Volusia guy. You loved East Bay. You did. Tampa, you loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're a tried and true Volusia guy to me. As we close in on Volusia starting back up for their traditional Daytona week, I want you to sort of wax poetic and tell America why the half mile in Barberville, Florida is the spot. And it wasn't East Bay, but Volusia's the spot because you loved Volusia your entire life. So just wax on about Volusia. And I know we got a little Volusia video to show while you're talking about it. So
yeah, Volusia is the place where I've always done a week at Volusia. I didn't always do a week at East Bay. When I started covering Volusia in 1998 and on for like the first almost 20 years until I got the Dirt on Dirt, I was just doing, I do like maybe like the first and second days at East Bay and then that finale. I mean, it was 2.5 hours across the states, basically, you know, from Volusia through all the Orlando traffic. But Volusia has always been it's outside of Daytona. Daytona Beach is where it's the world center of racing for a reason, you know, everybody. And back when the Daytona 500 was it was like a 2-week long event, really, you know, like, I mean, you had qualifying and in the Busch Clash and the ARCA race the weekend before you had the Daytona 500, and then there was practice every day, the twin qualifiers in the afternoon on Thursday. It was I mean, and just being so close to Volusia, it just felt like, man, you were in the center of racing. And I mean, again, I loved East Bay, but it just seemed like it was like out there, you know, it was on the other side of the state, especially for a guy coming from big blocks that, you know, I didn't get into the late models again until later. So I just think that history with Volusia being so close, it makes it the place for Speedweeks.
I liked this exercise with Ben and DJ, so I'm going to do it with you also. Let's skip Volusia because you just talked so much about it. You talked about Screven too. Alltech, Ocala, and Golden Isles. Tell me something interesting about all three places. Start with Alltech, then Ocala, then Golden Isles. Give me something interesting about all three.
I don't know, Alltech, I love that pit area there. I mean, I don't know if anybody's mentioned that. You know, yeah. It just feels like you're kind of out in like a park or something. You know, there's some trees out there. It's kind of wide open, grassy, and it's just not a typical pit area. You could think you're somewhere else. I feel like I'm a little like that Sycamore there in Illinois. You know,
good call.
Where they have like the trees in the pits, you get some shade and all. So I always like that. And I noticed too this year that's pretty cool. They added they raised up the drive-in off the second turn. You know, the campground area there. So that'd be like a cool little drive-in there. That'd probably be a neat place to watch the races from. And then, you know, Ocala, I mean, that dog leg just gets me, you know, the dog leg stretch. I'm not a fan of like the paper clips, flat paper clip racetracks. I like to have I like banking and I like a little variety in the shape. And Ocala does that. I mean, man, those cars sail through that dog leg there. I mean, it's always some pretty cool action when you're looking at Ocala back there. And then Golden Isles, that's one track actually I have not really been to many times. That was one that I've never done a Speedweeks race there actually.
Wow.
The only time I've been there was during the COVID comeback, you know, in May of 2020. But what I thought was always cool there, when I just was on the backstretch looking out, you see that old wall there from the old track. I could see that like beyond the wall of the main one. And I mean, I guess it's still there as far as I know. I haven't been there in 5 years again, but it just brings me back to like, man, I'm thinking of like that oiled dirt where they were like supersonic speeds. And not that is the best racing. I wouldn't, I'll trade that for this racing now, but it does make you think about how fast they were going and what that place used to look like.
Shame on me, by the way. I did this with Ben and DJ, and I didn't have it in my notes for you. I didn't mention Henry County, right? And part of it is I know that neither one of them have been to Henry County. I don't think you have been to Henry County either.
No.
It is a part of Speedweeks now, right? And I don't want to leave them out. I will say when I watched, let's dabble on this for a second. I watched that test video that they put out, and it was. I thought the facility looked pretty nice. Like, I think it's got a reputation as like, man, it's way down there. We don't know anything about it. I don't know how it's going to race yet, but facility-wise, Kevin, I thought it looked okay. And what can we say about Henry County? I don't know a lot about it. You tell me.
I know you got to have Boom Briggs on to talk about that because he's like that's like his backyard. That's his home track now. It's almost
he's
like
the mayor of Henry
there,
County
right?
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the mayor of Henry County there. So what I kind of liked, I saw that one picture. I think it was a Boom, practicing. You could see some palm trees in the background. It was kind of sunset. Him going in the corner. I mean, that place looks pretty cool. That's what I've always liked about like the Speedweek shows too. Like Volusia with see that palm tree when you come into the sign in, or in East Bay is the same way all those years, and it just gives you that feel like, man, you're not in a regular area for racing here. We're down Speedweeks and we're far away from home, and Hendry County looks like it'll have that. Well, again, it'll be interesting to see how it races, and this is the first time they're on that national platform, and so hopefully good luck to them, and and a lot of Busch Light will be at Boom Briggs's hauler too, I'll imagine.
Listen, make no mistake about it. I do not like these tours being on top of each other. I've been very vocal about that since the beginning. Having said all that, I wish them luck, right? I hope they have a big crowd. I hope the racing's okay. So good luck to the guys down at Henry County. Kovac, Speedweeks writ large. We had officially deemed really no. Let me put it this way. I think this is not Speedweeks anymore, right? Sunshine Nationals day 1, Golden Isles day 4. That's 44 days, right? It's a lot of days. I think I'm officially calling this is now just a collection of winter races. It's not really Speedweeks anymore. I think Volusia is going to be the thing that kind of feels like it. And then once Ocala gets going, maybe a little, we don't know post-Daytona 500 how that'll feel. But am I right about that? This is really just a collection of winter races. It's not, when East Bay left, it's not Speedweeks now. Is that fair?
Yeah, you always would have, you have one travel day in between Golden Isles to East Bay and East Bay to Volusia, or sometimes not even. You'd even run at Ocala in between East Bay and Volusia. So kind of hit that right on the way. And now it's just, you would have a lot of volunteer crew guys too. It wasn't just this is like for the full timers now. Only the full timers can go for this kind of stretch of Speedweeks, and those volunteer guys would always take their vacations, and even fans take their vacations for this one 2-week stretch of racing. Man, bang, we're knocking them all these racetracks out. All these races out at East Bay and Volusia, and it's just not the same when you have this big breaks or even like multiple day breaks in between. Not that we hated like having some breaks when you're there for 2 weeks in a row, right? You always like the rainouts in between, but it's just imagine doing crew diaries now. It's like there wouldn't be enough night after night racing. It's just there's too many different too many days that wouldn't be at a racetrack doing something.
We get asked about crew diaries a lot. And we're going to talk about, before I let you go, kind of how we're covering things. You just can't cover this like you used to, right? When I owned Dirt on Dirt and we had 15 to 20 full-timers, I could all of them down there for 16 days, guys, lock in 16 days, rattle it off day after day after day after day after. Like you said, with especially those Hunt the Front rainouts, and God bless those didn't quite feel like Speedweeks races, cold, northern, snowy Georgia, or whatever. We couldn't do it the same, Kevin. Think about Tim Truex. I'd kill him if I asked him to go there for 44 days and edit crew diaries. We're going to do almost 20 drive homes, which is almost more than we've ever done, and people are still mad that we've not been doing it. It's different now, man. It's just you just can't do this the same as you used to.
Yeah, you're going in and out, it's hard to just be there. Basically, if you're doing the whole thing, it's like you're just a snowbird now, right?
That's right.
You're just moving down south. Go to Florida for the winter, which isn't a bad thing. A lot of people, how cold it's been up in the north here, probably would be nice to be down. Well, it's been cold down there too a little bit, but to get away from all this bad weather. But and that's basically what it is. You're not there. You don't have that just stringing everything along at one in one whole stretch.
I've got this graphic for my last question. I almost forgot I wanted to pull up for you. So hopefully you didn't cheat and look at this, but I've got this
I
here.
didn't. You told me about that.
I told you not to, so I don't want you to cheat. Outlaw points title, Lucas points title. Who wins both? Briefly, who do you got for both?
Well, I did Bobby Pierce already. I made that prediction for the Outlaws.
Okay.
I just don't see how anybody can overtake him. But he will have a little bit tougher, I believe. It will be there will be I can see already Tim McCready's off to a good start, and Nick Hoffman's off to a good start. I mean, there's going to be more competition. I don't think he's going to have it locked in at World Finals. And then for the Lucas Oil Series, Ricky Thornton Jr., I think he's going to be a man on a mission too now, because he feels he should have 3 in a row.
That's what I said earlier. I said that earlier.
Yep. And he's just going to be like on kill right from the start, I think. And he's going to say, like, hey, it was a regular point deal and we won it.
Kovac, one final thing for you. I looked back 20 years ago. So Speedweek, think about 2006, man. It's 20 years ago already. Speedweek started on February 1st. And producer Jeff, can I go with this camera for this part of this segment over here? Speedweeks 20 years ago in 2006 started on February 1st, okay, with Golden Isles. It ended on February 18th with Volusia. So just 17 days. It was 17 days of Speedweeks. It's 44 now. There were 10 winners in total, Kovac. 10 winners in total for this. I've got my cheat sheet right here, which is why I wanted this camera. How many of those 10 winners can you name? And Jeff, you can put us back on the split box now. I'm going to drag this over here. How many of those 10 winners from 2006 can you name?
See, this was a tough one because 2006 would be the last year that I wasn't full-time dirt late models. That was the last time that I covered late. I covered big blocks, 100%. Few months later, I started doing the PR for the World of Outlaws. So I didn't go to East Bay all week long. I wasn't focused on the late models at Volusia. Certainly didn't go to Golden Isles. I knew I could do one. I could totally remember Earl Pearson Jr. winning at Volusia.
That is right. That is right.
One of those last. So I know I got that. I mean, like probably Billy Moyer and Scott Bloomquist had to have won, right? I mean,
Billy Moyer nor Scott Bloomquist won. Billy Moyer did win one at East Bay. Excuse me, Billy Moyer. So you've got two. You've got Earl Pearson Jr. and you've got Billy Moyer so far.
I feel like a Chubb Frank and a Rick Eckert won at Volusia that week.
Chubb Frank and Rick Eckert both. Good.
I remember that.
Yep.
I focused in more when those Northeast guys won, like during the Volusia week for Airy Auto Racing News. So I'm like, man, was one of them the finale too, or not? The DIRTCar finale on Friday. They used to have that DIRTCar finale.
Eckert won February 17th, which would have been the DIRTCar finale on Friday, and then Earl Pearson won the night before on the 16th. Actually, the Outlaws race on the 16th. So for whatever reason, they went.
Steve Francis, he had to have a win back then, right?
Steve Francis won back-to-back at East Bay on February 10th and 12th. So you are doing quite well right now. You've got Moyer, you've got Francis, you've got Eckert, you've got Earl Pearson Jr. Moyer, Francis, Eckert, Earl Pearson
This wasn't
Jr.
the Tim Dome year, was it? That was a little later.
That was later, and you got Chubb Frank. So you've got 5 of the 10. 5 winners remain. One of them...
How about a Steve Shaver? Was a Steve Shaver win one?
Good guess, but no on Shaver. There was only Chubb Frank also, by the way, won the Golden Isles opener on February 1st. So Chubb won a race at Volusia and Golden Isles that year. So,
Oh, all right. I mean, that was like Chubb was on fire back then, right?
I'll give you another 30 seconds, then I'll read them to you.
This wasn't a Greg Johnson year, was he?
No.
Did he win the first race at Bedford? I mean, from Bedford, Indiana. I mean, but I remember he won one at Volusia too. I couldn't remember what year that was.
Let me read them. Let me read them to you, okay?
Okay, read them off to me.
February 1st, UMP at Golden Isles, Chubb Frank, your winner. February 4th, the Outlaws at Golden Isles. So they must have had some rainouts in there. Clint Smith, the Cat Daddy, your winner.
Right, I do remember that. They hit him on the way down, right?
Yep. February 6th through the 12th at East Bay, the order winners, Dan Schleeper, your winner on opening night.
Schleeper.
Yep. Billy Moyer, a rare Dale McDowell at East Bay victory on February 8th. Matt Miller on February 9th, the Ohio driver who loved East Bay. And then Francis closed it out with back-to-back East Bay wins. Your winners at Volusia, only 5 got in that week. Chubb Frank from Illinois, the thriller Darren Miller.
Oh, there's one. I do remember that.
Earl Pearson Jr., Rick Eckert, and Steve Francis. Those are your Speedweeks winners 20 years ago. I knew you'd appreciate that. So
that's cool. I like it, man. You go in like maybe next year I could probably do a little better. 2007, I was full time there. I was into the late models more at that point, so I'd know them all then.
We'll sit right here and we'll do that next year. We'll do that next year. Kovac, I'm going to keep Kovac on Jeff for the coverage stuff that we got. Here's how we're going to cover Speedweeks for those at home, and Kovac will be a big part of this. We'll have our race day report for every Lucas Oil event. So Lucas Oil races only, we will have race day. We'll have a Speedweeks minute at all Lucas Oil races as well. So Speedweeks minute and race day at all Lucas Oil races. But we will have the drive home starting at Volusia. It's just too important not to cover with the drive home. So in total, I think it's 18 or 19 drive homes we have. And there's our fun social media graphic we did for the drive home all the way through Volusia first night, through the Golden Isles second night. Me, Ben Shelton, Dustin Jarrett, Kevin Kovac, Tyler Rinkin. That group in some combination will be bringing you the drive home each night. Are you ready to sit in the back seat with Tyler Rinkin is my question for you, Kevin.
Oh, man, Rinky, I'm ready to go. He's pumped up about getting down there, too. So he told me out at Arizona he can't wait to eat some Wawa. You know, he's going to be getting to the Wawas every night.
We will be. Last thing I'll say is it is wild when you go down there and cover this thing, and it's really going to feel different this year because you're doing Screven and Volusia, then you're going home for 2 full weeks and coming back. I will miss that night after night after night after night after night thing that you had for 20 days. It'll never be the same, but those are some of the greatest memories of my life, us going to Speedweeks together, and I really mean that. So,
yeah, East Bay and Volusia, you know, just go right off, right together. We get a Super Bowl in between. We can still watch the Super Bowl this year, though. We'll get into the house, right, and watch that.
I can tell you, if the Bears were going to make it, I wasn't going to be at the Volusia. I was going to be at the Super Bowl. So if maybe one day I'll be able to...
I might have been too angry to watch it. You know, if I seen Ben Johnson go to the
Ben, yeah, you get mad about Ben. Kovac, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Just that part, you know.
I appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. All right.
All right. See you later.
Yeah, we will see all of you, of course, with our coverage kicking off. It's been kind of rolling, but it's really kicking off from Screven this coming weekend, live on FloRacing, and, of course, every single Lucas event live on FloRacing as well. I've been at every Speedweeks event since 2008, or attended Speedweeks, so I'm very excited to get our entire crew back down there. And I'm doing 28 days in Georgia and Florida this year. I'll be at USAC races. I'll be at Lucas Oil races. I'll be at World of Outlaw races. I'll be at NASCAR. I'll be at New Smyrna for my job as GM of FloRacing, doing some stuff for the World Series of Asphalt. So very much looking forward to all that. For Michael Rigsby, producer Jeff Burba, and everybody here at FloRacing, we will see you from Speedweeks starting very soon.